name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job.
Government officials insist that this
that BNC Live has been following from the beginning. A father continues his mission to find out what happened to his son.
Daniel Robinson vanished in the Buckeye Desert.
Daniel Robinson went missing in the Buckeye Desert.
Urgent plea from a father who has scoured the vast Arizona desert himself.
4-year-old Daniel Robinson. And this is a very, very odd mystery.
Daniel Robinson disappeared on June 23rd in the far West Valley.
His parents, David and Melissa, need our help.
I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson.
His name, Daniel Robinson. And leading the search, not law enforcement, but Daniel's father, David.
God knows how much we can bear, you know, and at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
Where is Daniel Robinson?
And identify they were human leg bones.
But you know what, it's still urgent to me as a father because, you know, we found human remains out here.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. I also want to thank the volunteers that come out here every weekend, volunteering their time. And, you know, without these special people behind me, I wouldn't have a search.
How does a young man vanish off the face of the earth? How does that happen? No record, no sightings, nothing. He's just gone. And when I say a young man, I'm talking about 25-year-old Daniel Robinson. He is the apple of his parents' eye. A young geologist, music lover, good-looking, great grades, the works. So why can't we find Daniel? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. And his dad, David Robinson, is using the GoFundMe money to fund his own investigation and the desperate search for his boy, his son, Daniel Robinson, 25 years old. What happened to him? How did he just disappear? David Robinson, sir, thank you so much for being with us. Tell me when you first realized your son just hadn't called in a couple of days, that he was truly missing.
Yes, my son, on the 23rd, I did get a call from my daughter. She also lives out in Phoenix. And at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
But in his weakest times, David says it's the volunteers that provide him strength.
You know, everybody know that I call them my extended family. And so this visual is the same thing. We all here have one common goal, and that's to find Daniel and also to bring light what happened to other families.
As the Robinsons' extended family light candles tonight, their collective light shines towards that day when their question is answered and Daniel comes home. Josh Sanders, 12 News.
my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink, and now I trust your gentle hand, even when I can't understand. I know your voice, I'm not afraid, walking with me at the same pace.
When the lights and cameras turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still searching for him. Thank you all for coming in this morning. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm here to tell my son's story. He's a geologist, graduated from the College of Charleston, South Carolina. My son decided to come out to Arizona to make it his home. He moved to Phoenix. As soon as he got into Phoenix, he landed his first job with the company called Matrix New World. It's also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. My son started a job as a field geologist. They hired him on as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. What he does for that company is go out to various well sites all over Arizona to check the viability of wells. As you guys may know, wells are put into communities that's going to be built up because this is a desert state. Those communities have to have at least 2 wells, and those wells have to produce at least 100 years of water. My son was determined that his job is to determine if that well can produce that much water over 100 years, as well as the viability of the wells is tested, as in the rock sediments and stuff that comes out of that well. Of course, that is drinking water. But on June the 23rd last year, my son was doing what he always do. He get his work assignments through his work computer. He decided, actually, he got his work from his work computer and actually went out to 2 well sites that was scheduled for him to go to. The first one he left, got there roughly around 7 o'clock, what I was told. The second one, my son had to call. It was off of Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road in Buckeye, Arizona. Out there in the Sonoran Desert. And for what I was told, my son had to call the person who was already at the well site, worked for a company called Weber. The worker from Weber told us that my son did call him to get directions how to get there. He directed my son up there to Sun Valley Parkway, where they met on the side of the road. And once my son met him on the side of the road, they had a little short conversation. Son followed him into that desert. He had to go 1 mile west and 2 miles north to get to a well site that they would be working at. Once they arrived at that well site, which was roughly around 9 o'clock that morning, according to that worker, they only had about a 10-minute conversation, where after that conversation, this worker said that my son waved off to him, got in his vehicle, where he was never seen again. As you guys may know, my son's vehicle, everything he was allegedly wearing on his body, was lying in this ravine behind me. This vehicle sitting there, that's my son's vehicle, found in a 20-foot ravine that's about 3 miles away from where that well site is, out there farther into a remote area of that Sonoran Desert. Like I said, allegedly the clothing that was on that's about 3 feet away from the vehicle was everything that my son wearing, from his underwear down to his socks, was on the ground there. His boots, one on one side of the vehicle, the other boot tucked up under the side of the vehicle that's on the end here. You guys can see in that picture. And my son have never been seen again. Like I said, it was almost 30 days later. That vehicle was found by a rancher who said he was out there chasing down his cattle, where he's tracking his cattle. His cattle often come down that ravine where his vehicle was found to get to a corral that's south of that ravine. And so he went through there 2 to 3 days prior to July the 19th. The vehicle wasn't there. His soul wasn't in his cattle. So he came back again. And that's when he saw the vehicle there. Once he saw the vehicle there, he said that he went out to, him and his workers went out to look for whoever the vehicle belonged to at the moment, because he said he thought it was just something that just happened because it looked so clean and so fresh, the vehicle itself. He went down looking around the area, started yelling for the person, but then he realized it was the vehicle that he saw on the local news, that he saw, and he also called it into Buckeye Police Department, where he gave them the tag number. Of course, a couple hours later, the police department showed up. Again, you guys, my sons have been missing since that time. Since June 23rd, he has been missing. Like I said, the vehicle has been found almost 30 days later in that ravine. You guys may know some of the stories behind that. If you guys don't know that, I can also answer those questions. That's why I have this Q&A to answer some of those questions about my son's case. Because I've been fighting. I've been here since June 26th, searching for my son. Been doing everything I can from that point on, from searching, organizing searches, to doing city searches, as well as flyer distributions, as well as doing things like this, interviews, and also this YouTube channel. Trying to do everything I can to keep my son's story alive, try to keep his name out there, try to reach those persons who may know something or may have heard something. So my job has not stopped. I'm still here to this day. It's been over a year now that my son has been missing, and I'm still fighting for his honor, fighting for his justice, and fighting also to find out what happened to him. So I'm really appreciative of you guys who have been helping me from day one, those who have been by my side for day one, who's been praying for me and my family, who's been, because it's rough on all of us, my entire family. We're having it really hard. To this date, still wondering. My auntie just called me the other day to try to inquire some more information that may be happening. The thing I found out so much more. I found a lot of things. I found out a lot of things since my son has been missing. I've been wanting to relay a lot of that to the police department. But as you know, you guys, a lot of things have been happening where I didn't get any police help and things like that. So I'm trying to find the right persons and the right person to give this information that I do know. But I do know one thing for sure, is that forensic work should have been done on this vehicle from the date it was found on July the 19th, when that vehicle was found. July 19th is when that vehicle was found by that rancher. And so the fingerprinting should have been done on day one. The forensics to make sure that's my son's clothing should have been done on day one. The red transfer panel of the vehicle should have been tested. The vehicle itself should have been processed the proper way. It shouldn't have been several days after July the 19th that the vehicle just had, according to the Buckeye Police Department, fingerprinting done on the vehicle. So I had to request that. That was something that they was willing to do on their own. Matter of fact, they turned the vehicle over to me on July the 19th, July the 20th, excuse me. And So I the one had to request them to do fingerprinting on that vehicle. When they actually did that, they say they did. I'm hoping they did. So I haven't heard anything else about the results of those testing, but I did request that part of it. But there should still being forensic work done on the airbags that I have there, everything, the whole process of the vehicle itself, his work computer, everything that's found in there, his cell phone, all that stuff should have been processed the proper way. And so you guys, I've been fighting from that time on to get this stuff done. So right now, you guys, I still need your prayers. Towards that, I need your help as well. I've been having a GoFundMe there to keep me going from day one to continue to do everything I've done so far with searching to the flyer distribution to, like I said, trying to get this forensic work done to you name it. All of that is helping. Also, I'm still right now in the background process of trying to get other law enforcement agencies involved in my son's case, as well as the Attorney General's office to even the Justice Department. So doing some things out there in the background to try to get my son's get some justice. Like I said, get the justice that he need. You probably could tell, you guys, it's been over a year, so of course I'm tired. I'm tired to keep doing this over and over and over again. But it's something I have to keep doing for my son's sake, because, like I say, he's still missing. After all of this stuff that you hear me say here on this Q&A, the bottom line for me is my son is still missing. His mother, his siblings, myself, entire family. We have to deal with that. So still trying to fight as a father, still trying to do everything I can on my end. But I just want to tell you, first of all, thank you guys for coming in and, like I said, being that support system that for me here in Arizona. I do have an entire team. I had the desert team as well, who've been supporting me out in those days when I was doing the desert searches. Some people ask me if I'm still going to do desert searches. If I can, I will. Most time, if I ever do the searches again out there, it would be more so tailored to what I find out through forensic work and some things that I find out through some of the tips and stuff that I get. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm not out there right now to this date. Since I slowed the searches down, like I said, slowed them down to a point where you don't see too many desert searches, but that don't mean that I'm stopping. I'm just going to do it when I'm able to do so, as well as just keep this flyer distribution stuff going and try to get that keep Daniel's name going. So if you guys can help me in any kind of way, I really appreciate it. I thank you guys, like I said, for coming out this morning and supporting. Every time I see your names out here and I see you out there in the chats, they really help because morally, excuse me, but I need all the help that I can to help my morale to stay here and keep on continuing to fight. So, all right, I just wanted to tell everybody thank you again. I see a person here, Gatewood, if I say your name, Gatewood. Thank you so much for being here this morning on the Facebook side. Also, Tracy, thank you again for being here this morning on the YouTube side. Thank you, Shauna, for being here this morning. I really appreciate you. Thank you for all you do in the background and being a moderator as well as a team member. Thank you, Ephesus. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for coming out again on the Facebook side. Shiro's Nation, good to see you again. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate that. God bless you for being here in support. So also thank you, Amber Overton. Thanks so much for being here from the Facebook side. I really appreciate it. Lois Strickland, thank you so much. Charlotte, North Carolina. I talked about you the other day. Get those flyers out to you and stuff like that. I really appreciate you, everything you have done in helping me towards finding Daniel. Thanks again for coming out and support. Alcy, thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I have Lisa here. Thank you for being here this morning as well. And I wanted to put this up here, and I just want to thank you also, Sophia, for being here. Good morning to you, and thank you for moderating and also being a team member here for Please Help Find Daniel, as well as the board for the Daniel Ross Foundation. I really appreciate you being here, and thank you for putting that up here. I do want to get to this in a minute. We do have the Day of Remembrance. You guys always also remember that we had to reschedule the last Day of Remembrance. It's because of that Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision. But we're back. We got it back again. Like I said, I'm glad you guys have been supporting the last time. Last time I asked you guys, I'm asking the same thing this time. If you guys can if you do have someone that's missing and you want to highlight that person's story, your loved one's story, you want to share the story, we ask you to come out to that Day of Remembrance. As in, a matter of fact, if you guys can also email us to help save your spot, bring your tables and flyers and stuff. We want to be able to share that platform with you. We want to be able to get you in touch with some of the resources that'll be there, as well as, like I said, just getting to know who you are, and also to share our stories and stuff. So if you have a missing person, please come and join us at a Day of Remembrance, and share your person's story, as well as people who don't have a missing person in their family and want to support. We need you out there for support. These families need you out there to support. My family, we need you out there to support. And the way you can do that is you also can go to Eventbrite to RSVP to register. And also you can go to Please Help Find Daniel under the events tab. I will be fixing that tab. That tab is not updated just today yet, but it will be updated today. But you can go to Eventbrite or you can go to Please Help Find Daniel events tab and RSVP. Like I said, September the 10th is good, not too far away, but it's getting close. And if you guys want to be a part and want to come out and support, please make your plans now. We need all the people we can to come out there and support these families. We know all the families that we can, that we want to share that platform with and be able to help other families as well. So we want to make sure you guys come out there, like I said, support. And I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. So thank you, Sophia, for putting that out there. And I just want everybody to know that we do have a Day of Remembrance, September the 10th. And they ask you guys if you want to please come out. Please come out. It'll be from 6 to 10. 6 to 10. And thank you so much for your attention on that matter. Also, thanks to Barry for being here this morning. And thank you for putting that up as well. Thank you for your team member and also board member. Thank you so much for being here. Also, you guys up front, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. That really helps this channel out to grow, to keep it going. I've been doing this for a while now. And one thing you guys have been doing is doing that, like, share, and subscribe, and helping the algorithms to get Daniel's story out a lot farther. Have over 1,000 some subscribers, and that's because of you all been working really hard to help me get there, and I really appreciate it. I want to tell you thank you so much for doing that, because I really need all the help that I can to get Daniel's story out there, as well as this platform. Hopefully it's being used or will be used to help other families to share their stories. So if you have a loved one that's missing, also you can hit me up on the Please Help Find Daniel at yahoo.com to let me know that you want to be part of the Q&A to share your loved one's story. So if you have a loved one that's missing us also and you want to share it here, you're welcome to do so. I really want to have you on and I'll be able to talk to you about that. So also, thank you. I have a question here probably, and I really appreciate it. Yes, I do. And one of the things I was going to say when you get down to the question side of this Q&A, if you guys can please put like Daydream done here, put some question marks there before your question, put a capital letter Q or the word question before your question. That definitely helped me find it as I'm coming down the comment section. But right now I was saying thank you for everybody for coming in. And I wanted to say I really appreciate it. But I want to go ahead and answer this question from Daydream. Thank you so much for being here this morning again and support. Your question is, has the company Weber participated in helping you search for Daniel? Far as I know, no, they have never came out to. When I say far as I know, I don't know if a worker or somebody like that was in the crowd when we had the people out there, but as in acknowledging themselves or saying, hey, I'm from Weber and things like that. No, no one from Weber has come out to the searches to help from day one. So I don't know how that company's structured and anything like that. I haven't talked about one person, Ken. I just talked to him, the one person that saw my son last on that day on June 23rd, the one that we have the whole story narrative that came from, this one person who says my son just waved off and drove off to never be seen again. So that's the only person I talked to. And you guys know that I did that because one of the first things, that was 3 days after, about 3 days, I think it was on the 29th of June when I went to talk to Ken at that well site. And that's because, like I told you, knowing my son, if somebody going to tell me that Daniel just pretty much just waited or came to work. He's a very responsible man. He's a very responsible man. and he came to work, but he went to 2 well sites and decided to, according to that worker, just wave off and drive off like he didn't want to be there. He just drove off and just abandoned his job. I do not believe that. That's not Daniel's character. So I had to go see this one person who says something different from what I know about my own son, and look him in his eye from man to man. So that's one of the first things I've done since when I got here on June 26th was to seek out who this guy was and wanted to speak to him. So I did have those arrangements there. If you guys can look at Twitter, for instance, I just put that up last night. You guys can look at that. That was the date that I went up there to off of Sun Valley Parkway and to talk to that one person from Weber. And you know, it was really bad, weird type of encounter that I had. You know, you guys know the story. I got there. I did arrange that with Daniel's company to talk to this guy. He knew I was coming up there, probably pretty much the same way Daniel reached out to him to say, hey, look, I'm coming up that way. And he gave me head directions from the company how to get there. But, you know, once I got to that gate, they directed me in. All right. The guy knew I was out there at the gate. He instead of him coming out himself, he sent some other guy up there. Of course, I'm not going to know who it is, but you guys can see that picture there on Twitter. The guy got there and it was a very weird encounter. He started asking a lot of questions. Then he got to a point where I said, hey, look, I want to talk to the Ken guy, you know, the person I came to look for, to talk with. He got on the phone. I'm standing there. That's why you look at the picture. I was pretty much standing there while he was on the cell phone. He tried to talk to Ken from the well site, but then I think I could kind of audibly hear a little bit. So he pulled his truck forward and said something like, hold his signal or something. But he pulled his foot forward, not out of the desert. He put his truck forward into the desert. And made his little whatever he had to say real quick. He backed his vehicle back up and then told me, oh, yeah, he said he'll come up. But he asked me first to give me a ride down to the desert. And I wasn't going to do that. You know, so I wasn't just going to jump in and hop in that pickup truck with him. So make a long story short, that was a very weird encounter just to even get the guy to come up to the front up there just to speak to me. So it took a while, but I was able to talk to him that day. But as in Weber or anybody else from that company, like I said, I don't know the guy that was there in that pickup truck from Weber. I don't know where he's from. I just know that, they didn't come out to end the searches to this date. So, again, thanks so much, Daydream, for your questions. If you guys have any questions, do as Daydream have done here. You just put a couple question marks before your question, or put like I said, the capital letter Q or the word question for your question. Then I can find it as I come down the comment section. So that'll help out a lot. All right. Thank you, Angie, baby, for being here this morning off of YouTube side of things. I really appreciate it. Jackie, thank you so much for being here also as well this morning off the YouTube side of things. And if you guys are the first time here, thank you first of all for coming out. Secondly, I really appreciate that that you took your time out on this morning to support this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is just about my son. I decided to do this to make sure that my son's story get out farther. So you guys who have been here all the time, you hear the same thing over and over again. That's the whole point, is to be able to get Daniel's story out there, to answer these questions that people may have. If it is your first time hearing about Daniel's story, it's also help, so you to catch up and find out what's going on, the things that I do know. And if you guys can ask me directly as the father, ask me questions directly. So, and also, this YouTube channel is not an entertainment channel. It's just, like I said, just for the platform of Daniel. I have done, I lost track. I did a lot of interviews with news organizations to TV shows like Dr. Oz to Red Table Talk, for instance, Dateline. And, after a while, a lot of those networks have to move on to different stories. One thing I do want to say real quick, Dateline did release their Daniel's story this week, so you guys can look out for that as well. But like I said, that stuff would die down. Though Daniel's story did go semi-nationally or went nationally, and but at the point you see that story can actually die out there, and it's a very important Daniel's story stay alive because it can reach that one person or persons who may know something, as well as I get a lot of support that way. So you guys, I've been doing everything I can from when I see that from news organizations calling and say, hey, they want to have updates. That's all they ask for is new updates so they can have something to talk about on those channels, on those news stations. Saying my goal is to keep Daniel's story alive. And so I had to come up with a way to do that. And the YouTube channel was the best way to do so, to control my own narrative, to be able to, get Daniel's story out there. So I'm going to keep this channel going as long as I can to keep Daniel's story out there. And also to use the channel to help other families who may have, like I said, at the beginning of this, who have people that's missing and they want to share their story. They can come on this platform and be able to share their loved one's story. So thank you again, Jack, for being here this morning, as well as Wendy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your prayers. I really appreciate it. We need all the prayers we can. Me and my family, like I say, it's rough. I'm standing here in the gap for my family. Hey, I'm the person here on the ground with my boots on the ground for my family, for my entire family, his siblings, my children. So, your prayers is always appreciated. So thanks so much for being here this morning and support. Thank you again, Angie Baby, for being here. And thank you. A lot of respect to you as well. I really appreciate you being here this morning. Thank you, Sophia, for putting this up. You can donate here. If anybody in the chats, they want that link there to the GoFundMe. You can donate there, and it's very important. So I have been working hard to find my son. It's an active thing. It's not something that to stop. I've been working since I got here. June. It's been an entire year. Been actively working from this, distributing flights. I mean, I can produce the stuff. This stuff do cost to be able to keep everything going. So, to be here in Arizona. Anytime you guys donate and try to help, that helps also as well. So any amount help, and I really appreciate you guys who have been supporting, who have been keeping me here with my boots on the ground, fighting for my son. Also, you can go here. Thanks to Phil for putting all this up. You can go here on to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and hit the other help and search sign up to help in other ways tab that we have there on Please Help Find Daniel. You guys can go there if you live in another state and you want to be here to help, but you can't. There's other ways that you can help. You hit that tab, fill out that form there because it helps out. We have a lot of people who have done that already. As you know, I have a foundation, Daniel Robinson Foundation, so we're still in that process of that. It's still in that infancy stage. But you guys can help with that by signing up to help in other ways as well as helping me currently what I'm doing here in my efforts to find Daniel. Also, you can print the flyers if you guys want to print flyers, or if you want to be an ambassador for your city. You can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com as well and get that PDF there. That's the flyer PDF. You guys, if you want to print out the flyers yourself. Also, if you want the flyers mailed out to you, you can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com and put your information there. I will put that on the bottom of the screen, by the way. You guys, right there on the bottom there, you can see it there. If you want to distribute flyers, please email us. pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com with your information. But if you want to print those flyers out, that's very helpful. You can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and go under the PDF tab. That also help, as well as on the bottom of the screen here. If you want to be a volunteer ambassador for your city, for your individual city, to pass out these flyers, please, join in. I'm going to have every Thursday. I will have a Zoom link. It's a Zoom link posted on Please Help Find Daniel, the front page. You guys could join in on that Zoom, and so you can hear me tell you what's the entails of how the flyer ambassadorship program will be working. So see if you guys want to really be a part of that and really help me get those flyers out, and the reasons why I decided to do it this way as well, to get those flyers out there, because it's very important, like I said, keep Dave's story going out there. So you guys know when I have those flyers, say they're everywhere. Sometimes I hear people in other cities reach out to say, hey, I have one of these flyers, and send a picture or something. They have found one of the flyers. So I'm really proud and really happy to see that Dave's flyers is actually getting out just outside of Arizona. So you guys can please try to help me reach that one person that may be in your city that used to live here or visiting a family, whatever the case may be, and it was around that day that Daniel went missing. They didn't know I was actually looking for Daniel. They see one of these flyers, they hear the story, then it jogs their memory, and then they can reach out, like I said, with that tip line that I have. I had a tip line, and they may tell, say what they saw that would help me bring Daniel home. So that's why it's important to try to get this flyers out as well. So the guys want to join that, it's right there on the bottom of the screen. I really appreciate it. Also, that volunteer and other ways tab, you also can go to Please Help Find Daniel and click on that as well. And the flyer, like I said, the PDF. So thank you so much for that, Sophia, for putting that information out there. I'm going to keep this out there. Remember, it's on the bottom of the screen. But thanks so much for putting that information there to help me get that out, because it's very important. Also, thank you, Daydream, for being here this morning. I really appreciate you coming back out again. Thank you for listening from Australia. I really appreciate it. That's very, very nice of you to join in and putting it out. So thanks so much. Keep this algorithm going. Keep this story, keep Daniel's story out there. So I really appreciate you doing that and took your time to make sure that happened. I want to tell you guys on the bottom screen, thank you so much also for signing that petition. You go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and hit the petition, sign the petition tab, and to put your voice. When you sign that petition, you actually put in your voice. I like to say that because that's what it really is. You put your voice on that. So if you guys can go on the Please Help Find Daniel and hit the tab there, you definitely can the petition tab, and you definitely can put your voice there as well. You can do it multiple times. You have multiple email addresses. You can do it multiple times. So please, by all means, sign it as many times as you can. That is your voice amplified a lot louder because, I know you support everything that I have been doing. That petition, for instance, started off with me trying to get the police department to do more in Daniel's case because, like, as you guys know, I haven't had that urgency on day one that some people was afforded when their loved one went missing, from having the FBI come in really quick to, you name it, to help search for their loved ones. I haven't had that to this date, still fighting for those type deals for over a year now. So, of course, that's what the petition was there first for. I did, as time went by, my petition kind of was growing. I started asking you guys to sign for some changes in the way that, because I got passionate, the way that policing handles missing person cases, that urgency, like I said, as well as trying to get some of those policies and stuff like that changed. Hey, look, we need to sign this petition so I can go fight to have some of these policy changes, because nobody should have to wait 12 hours, for instance, just to report a loved one missing when a family member know their loved one and when they are missing. No one should have to wait that long to report, because we already know that first 24 to 48 hours are very crucial to finding their loved ones, because as soon as that time lost, it's time lost. It's almost like having a stroke. You got to get there quick as possible. But that's exactly what policing is. Also, when it comes to missing person, it should be urgent, should be quick about it, so you can get those information. You can't just wait on it. So that's where the petition started off on those points, as well as from that point has grown some more to things like, hey, look, my son's case been damaged by that department. I need someone else to come in. And so I've been advocating for the FBI. And then it grew from the FBI to, you name it. So you guys look at a petition and you sign it, you'll be helping me as well. Have me some backing on the things I'm asking for, the things I'm trying to accomplish here. So thank you again. I really thank you guys for your support. Thank you for coming out here in this Q&A and helping my efforts. So thank you again. All right, and thank you, Sophia, for putting that up, because I really, really want to make sure I get those points across as well. All right. Oh, I see you do have it there, the 118,922 voices. So thank you again for that. All right. Thank you, Larnell, for being here this morning. Thank you for everything you do, sir, for your support, being part of the board as well and team. I really appreciate you being here this morning, supporting, and thank you so much. All right. Again, as Shauna put here, if you guys have any questions, please put the capital letter Q or the word question or a question mark before your question. That way, when I come down, I can actually can find those questions. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ruthie, for being here this morning from South Carolina. Thank you for being from my home state. I really appreciate you being out here in support, getting up this morning and starting your day to help out as well. Thank you, Shauna, for putting us up. Are you interested in finding out how to become an ambassador? Please send an email to pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com. And a meeting is coming soon. Yes, you definitely can do that as well. I can send that Zoom link to you through the if you guys come to pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com. I also send that Zoom link to join in tomorrow. Also, like I said, you can get that Zoom link off of pleasehelpfinddaniel.com on the front page there. That's a Zoom link. You guys copy paste that to your browser. You can join in at that time as well. The time is there for you. 5 o'clock tomorrow evening here, Arizona time. So you guys, if you're in South Carolina, that's 8 o'clock that night, PM as well. If you want to join in, for instance, to find out more about the ambassador, being an ambassador, volunteer ambassador. So thanks so much, Shauna, for putting that out there as well. I have a question here from Angie, baby. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Do you think the girl he was supposed to be talking to was more of a distraction? Something feels off to me. It's two parts to that. The answer to that question to me, yes, it can be a distraction as well as something significant that I still continue to. Like I said, I don't take anybody out the equation because my son is still missing. I still don't have those forensics work done. What can really determine a lot of things for me. But as it stands, yes, it was a distraction at the first. Somewhat it's been used as a distraction, not to distract from just the point that the Buckeye Police Department have been doing much to find my son, but it's more so to, in my opinion, as a character assassination of my son, to throw everybody off to what really happened to my son. To say, hey, look, my son was probably killed himself or went off from somewhere because he was such in love with a woman. So I think those type things were one of those things to put into my son's story, to the way it was put in to distract us away from the reality that my son, he's a victim. So anytime the police department can allow somebody to upload their own text messages into their report, and they actually put it in their report, a one-sided report or one-sided hearsay testimony in a sense. Saying there was nothing there from my son's cell phone put in that report to corroborate her story. There was no mention about the woman's story who was there as well as my son at that house, for instance, that resident, when my son spent the night there. And there was another young female there, according to my son, as well as what I was told by that department. And there was another person there as well. My son told me that personally. It was another person there, another young lady as well. And we don't know her name. We don't know her name. We don't know anything about her. It's not in report. So a lot of that stuff to me was selective, put in the report. If you look at everything that was put there, it was always everything that seemed designed to say Daniel had some issues about some love for some woman, in the sense, even to the point where there was in a report that I said my son was, which is false. My son is in love with a woman he didn't know, and my daughter. We didn't ever say that to that department. So those things is also in that report, and everything was kind of put into that narrative for you guys. Because like I said, when I first heard about it, the way I heard about it from the police officer who was asking questions about this young lady to me. I didn't know who she was. My son mentioned her, but one of the things was this whole narrative that my son somehow, was in love with her or something out of other. My son never mentioned the word love about this woman. So yeah, I think it was stretching. And also the fact I want to throw out is that when a local reporter came to me about that story, when she literally went up to the police department and just left there, that police department, and came to me, and they gave her the report, and it was highlighted in yellow. That one little section about the young lady was highlighted in yellow. I thought that she did it because she wasn't doing the story. No, they did it. They gave it to her that way. And and it was highlighted to focus on that, saying the way they put it there, I'm sure in that report, to make it appear that my son was some type of stalker or something. That's the way I take it, from the way that officer was answer her the question and even threatened if he come back and they're going to do this or whatever, some type of thing he was saying in that report. So, yeah, I think it was a bit distraction in such a form of a way, not distraction, just to keep us from looking at the fact that they haven't did anything to search for my son at that point. But it was more so too, like I said, I look at it as a character assassination. My son is the victim, but somehow trying to make somebody so that make him not a victim, make him a victim of his own self in the sense something he did to himself to try to throw us off. So I don't fall for that. I know my son's character. Yes, I am gonna be. If somebody say you can be biased, I supposed to as a father tell my son's character and vouch for his character and vouch for who he is as a young man, very very intelligent young man. He's a scientist, a brilliant young man. Don't have so much as a speeding ticket. So my son have never had any kind of. He's been around people all his life. My son has been living a college experience, been around a lot of people, have a lot of friends, and not one time, not one friend or any person ever said anything to suggest my son have a character the way that this police department was portraying him in their report. So, all right, I want to make sure that's clear as well. But thank you so much, Angie Baby, for being here this morning and asking those questions. You guys have any more questions, please, just like Angie did here. Thank you so much for putting that way the question marks there to help me find your question, as well as you guys, if you can, if you have the capital letter Q to you name it, I can find your question. That really helps. All right. I have one here again from Aussie. Thank you so much for being here as well on the YouTube side. And thank you for your question. How far was the grid search? Did any part of the White Tank Mountains get searched? Yes, a little part of that White Tank Mountain area have been searched. We're going closer to the east side. That's the east side of Sun Valley Parkway. We did one or two little what we call hasty searches out there. Also, I had drone searches out there, but as in physical search to get really close to those mountains over there, I haven't gotten there yet. I tried to find any real reasons to do so. And of course, one of the biggest reasons is to do so is because we haven't searched those areas like I would like to over that side of the east side of that Sun Valley Parkway. Now, the reasons why as well is because the story, like I said, this whole thing, when I came to Arizona, it was only one story. And that one story is from the guy who seen my son last at that well site. And that's, like I said, again, that's the reason why that's the first person, one of the first people outside the police department that I needed to go see, and look this guy in his eye and ask my questions, and because his story led us to that side of the desert, the west side. Say my son went farther into that desert. So, of course, my searches has always been going west and from that point of Sun Valley Parkway west. And so I've been doing it that way. And there's a lot of ground. There's a lot of ground. Everything's based on those 11 additional miles to how far a person can walk without collapsing. And my son's supposedly condition with a severe head injury, according to Buckeye, and also his clothing and everything on the ground, how far you can walk without shoes on your feet and things like that. So all the things is narrowed, all those things put in my planning on those grids that you're asking about. And the search, like I said, over 32 to 35,000 acres of land out there. And like I said, on the 40 weeks. So we did a lot. And those grids, if you guys can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and go on the SATTA map, you can see the way the grids is designed. And you see some of those areas marked out that we searched, the areas marked out that where we searched. So you go there, you can see, I see the areas that we searched in those grids, how far that we got. So definitely have some areas still to search, but like I said at the beginning, I'm working on that as well. But yes, we did a little part. As I see, if you may or may not know, there's also some vertical mines on that side of the roadway that I had some drone operators to fly over and find for me, because there's a lot of unmarked mines out there, and you have to be really careful of those. Of course, people driving to those, be careful. Those vertical mines. And but I do have drone operators searching that. So that's stuff that's still ongoing, searching wise. Of course, I have my time where I have to go out there myself. But of course, those are not organized searches, stuff I do on my own when I go out there. So I haven't been out there lately, but I will be going out there really soon again to be doing some more searching myself. So thank you so much for your question. I do have Daydream. Thanks so much again for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you for everything you have done so far and your love support for my family. As well as thank you, Brittany, for being here this morning off the YouTube side. Thank you for your question. And you guys, if you do like Brittany done here, that's really appreciate that, Brittany. I think I remember you said that there was something suspicious in the well where Daniel was last seen, possibly a skull. Were you able to get the well tested to find out what was down there? No, I have not. I still haven't got anything done on that, Brittany. And I know you're talking about this, the other well. Yes, it's a well, I believe. If you listen to the story of this worker from Weber, he said you drive 1 mile west into that desert, and then you had to go 2 miles north. And to get to this well site. But you know what? It's only that the well site they're claiming that my son went missing. That's only a mile, a little shorter than a mile north. And if you physically go out there and drive it, because I'm out there all the time. And if you go to the second well site that's north, that's a 2 mile mark, closer to the 2 mile mark where a well should be. So I'm really trying to make sure with Daniel's company. And one of the reasons why I really believe they don't really know, because when I did the first initial search, when I first went out there, I was following Daniel's supervisor, or we'll say boss, for lack of words, and he was getting lost. You know what I'm saying? And that's what one thing was very puzzling to me. They was talking two sides on that point. Saying, hey, yeah, when your son was missing, when Daniel was missing, we went to go. Me and one of the other workers, Daniel's friend, went to go look. And but when that first search, they was lost. So we was trying to find that well site, because I was really eager. One of the biggest points for me, also after talking to this guy from Weber, was to get out there myself in that desert and see this well for myself. I need to go to that well site. So that first initial search, yeah, it was one of those times where it seemed kind of, where that company didn't really know where it was at. But we actually found it. He said, oh, yeah, this is the well where your son went missing, that type deal. But like I said, when I do it myself, follow this guy's story, it makes more sense, the well that you're talking about, as being the first well. So everybody don't know what she's talking about. I had to do my own search at that well. I get Buckeye, I haven't done it. And they have never been to the well site. And, I have the lieutenant at the time. I have him on a live feed that I was doing that day out there searching. I did ask Buckeye to come out to the search. They came empty-handed. The lieutenant at the time admitted they'd never been to that well. That kind of best of the guy from the well site story, Ken's story, when he says he was there at the well and he didn't see no helicopter or see no officers at the well, and he was there the whole entire day. But they got in the report that they was out there with this Phoenix Firebird helicopter, and he didn't hear it or see it. But it kind of based. He said he didn't see anything. And him saying that on the live feed, they was at another well, that's way south from where Daniel was last seen. And but they have never been able to make a long story. I did that day was out there, and I called them out there to do some searches of those wells. So they came out during the week. They came empty-handed, but they came out that next following week or so to do the search with me, along with myself and some of my team member. And they have did the job. So I had to do it myself. I had a company come out as well, and we went in that well. We actually had underwater cameras go down in that well, and there is something that's down in that well. Very suspicious. I did, don't know how to get anybody in law for. Like I said, guys, I'm having a hard time with law enforcement to do what I think they should be doing, and I'm just leave it to that point because some other little things I'm doing in the background. But there was something suspicious about that well as well, because somebody dumped a large amount of dirt down in there. There was a fence post down in there. There was some other things, and you can see once they dumped something down there, it had something heavy to, I guess, weight something down. They dumped a lot of dirt because the dirt was collected on top of those items. So I do have all that on film, and it is something down on the bottom of that appeared to be a skull, the top portion of a human skull, and so that's what Brittany is talking about here. So no, I have not had the right person. I tried one person out of New York, somebody to look at it, and I still haven't found the right person to look at that film to determine what it is, and also to have a rights, because that's a private well. Somebody can go in there to see what those items are. I mean, I know what the items are, but what that one thing is in that well. So thank you, Brittany, for that question. Yes, I'm still working on that as well. So thanks so much. Also, thank you, Sean, for putting this right here out. Are you aware of someone else that may be missing? Share. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. Email with them to be a guest on the Q&A to speak about their loved ones. Yes, if you guys have a story, your loved one is missing, and you want to share that story here on the Q&A, yes, hit me up, hit the team up. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. We'll be ready and willing and really want to put your story out there as well. I did have one guest on so far. I have a second guest I've been trying to get on for a while, and I hope he, have an opportunity to come on and tell a story about his son. But I do have a guest that did come on about her mother. You guys can remember Sherry, who has shared the story, and I will be putting that back up here today about her and her mother's story. So thank you. Thank you so much, Shauna, for putting that up as well. If you guys have any questions, please put that question mark, the word question, or some question marks, and to help me find your question as I'm coming down the comment section there. So I will be strolling down. I want to tell everybody else who I didn't get to say thank you for coming out direct. I want to tell you thank you so much for coming out direct and sharing your time here on the Q&A. To be a part of this Q&A to help me. Like I said, you guys can like, share, and subscribe to the channel as well. Please do that now to help the algorithms, to help the story, this channel to get out far as it can. So if you guys can do that before you leave, that really helps as well. So thanks so much for that in advance. But I'm coming down to the comment section. If I miss your name, doesn't say, like I said, thanks for coming in. Thank you so much. I'm reading as I'm coming down the comment section as fast as I can, do some speed reading, but I really appreciate you guys for being here. But I'm actually looking for those who have those question marks there and have a question. So if you do, and I do have some here, if you do as, for instance, like Kimberly have done here with the question marks, you also could put, like I said, the word question there or capital letter Q. So when I come down, I can actually find your question. And if I still somehow miss it, please feel free to ask the question again, and I will try my best to get to it. If somehow I run out of time on the Q&A today, this morning, and don't get to your question, please come back this afternoon. I will have, of course, I had a Q&A prime time at 5:30 here on in Arizona time as well. That's 8:30 p.m. on the East Coast. So if you guys can come back to the prime time Q&A, you guys a question there as well. So hopefully you can come back on both. I'll be on this one and the other one. All right, Kimberly, have a question here. I think at one time you mentioned posting and accounting of expense so far, but I have not seen that. I think more people would be willing to donate money if they knew how much this costs. Yes, we did mention something similar to that before in the past. When I say we, it's myself and my team. Yes, I have been wanting to put something like that together, but I'm trying to find the best way to do that as well. But I really thank those people who have been donated, so far to this point, who's been helping. So I'm really grateful for your support and everything you have done. Because, like I said, I couldn't be doing this by myself. It's very expensive. You're right. There's a lot of expenses there, as well as there's forensic work that still had to be done. There's a lot of things there, and I haven't got to a chance to do that yet. So hopefully I can, Kimberly, but I don't have that done exactly yet. So, and I do see your next question as well. Like I said, I mentioned about the forensics. Yes, I don't have a definite ballpark figure. I can try my best to come up with one. But one of the problems with that is getting those ballpark figures. Actually, it's a lot of labs out there. A lot of labs can't give you no ballpark figure without actually seeing everything that you want to, have done. And one of the problems is because a lot of stuff, some labs don't work with just only work with law enforcement. Other labs, of course, none of the labs I've reached so far let me just do it personally, but they had to go through my investigator or attorney or something like that, or like I say, law enforcement. So it's kind of hard to get those ballpark figures. I mean, I Google and try to figure those things out and say, hey, look, the ballpark figure for this amount could be $100,000 or something, because I have to have forensic work done on Dan's clothing, to the red transfer paint, to, you just name it, that type stuff. So it's a lot. It's a lot cost to that. I don't know the exact amount, dollars and things like that. So I just ask for help. And whatever that time comes, like I did with the cell phone, then, saying when they give me an amount, then that's how I know, how much I need to get to my investigator, for instance, to get that stuff done. And so right now I don't have a ballpark figure, but hopefully I can do something like that, Kimberly, and I'll be working on that. Thanks so much for that question. Also, guys, if you have any more questions, please, like I said, do as Kimberly done here, put some question marks there. Do put the word question there as well as a capital letter Q, and I can get it as I'm coming down as well. Thank you, if I say your name incorrectly, I apologize for that as well. But thank you so much. I don't want to say the name incorrectly, but thank you so much for being here on this Q&A, and thank you for sending your love and your prayers. I really appreciate that, everything you have done by coming out here. So thanks so much. All right. And I do, well, let me back that up. I'll get this after Angie, baby. I did see a question that come down, but if you have a question, you guys, please do as Angie done here as well. Some question marks, a capital letter Q, or the word question, and that'll definitely help. All right. Do you think his disappearance could be due to his job and what he may have discovered? I live in Buckeye from 2016 to 2020, and I know there's a water shortage and the development of Douglas Ranch. And I'm glad you said that as well. I know I did some research myself about that area out there, and I know they've been trying to develop that since the 80s, probably, I'm sure, before that, but the 80s at least. Sun Valley Parkway was called the Road to Nowhere, and it probably still is until I know they have Surprise there now. So, but I don't rule nothing out. I don't rule anything out. I just know my son, he's a scientist. Daniel, he's, like I said, his job is to determine if there's those wells can produce at least 100 years of water. So I do know that. As in, my son, character-wise, if something is wrong, that well, for instance, don't produce 100 years of water, he'll say something. He's not going to lie for anybody. Think about if a scientist like my son, his job is to help the community. If somebody say, hey, I want to build a smart city, which I heard they're doing out there, and this well is not producing 100 years of water, that area, and you guys say, hey, I want to live in this smart city, and this Arizona, and they build this community, they build this nice house, you buy this house, now it's yours, and then you don't have no water. Now you got to take thousands or whatever they count collectively to try to get water imported into your community. So his job is to make sure that things like that don't happen. You know what I'm saying? You guys get gypped out of your own money and things like that. But these builders, they just are making money. They're just making money. They build these communities. They're making their money. Once they sell that house to you, it's yours. So your responsibility, everything else. So the thing is, I look at it like that. My son, yeah, he I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, I don't rule anything out, Angie. So that's the only way I can put that. But yeah, I don't rule anything out. I'm not saying that's exactly that what happened or anything like that, but I don't rule anything out. And my son disappearing. As far as I'm concerned, everything is suspect. You know what I'm saying? I have to go by what I have so far and things I did learn about my son's disappearance, and piece those things together and, go from there. So, like I said, I already have some answers to a lot of questions. It's just that I got to put some things together. So thank you for that one. All right. All right. Thank you also, Sandy's, again, for Sadie's. I hope I'm saying that correct, for being here again. And here's your question. Do you believe his car was driven after an initial crash into that ravine it was found at? Yes, I really do. And that's come from my investigator. I did hire a private investigator who was also asset reconstructionist. and he believed the vehicle was staged there. So yeah, of course, there was 11 additional miles on the vehicle after it was crashed. The Buckeye Police Department trying their best to refute that, that finding. I don't know if it's because they didn't find it themselves or whatever the other reason may be, but nevertheless, the hard evidence, the physical evidence already states, and it's common sense because the physical evidence says the vehicle was driven 11 additional miles after the first initial crash. And, like I said, from my investigators actually doing a job that the police department have not. He actually did a job. He also found the vehicle, the first crash happened 4 hours after that 9 o'clock time frame where they said that worker said that Daniel was missing. So, and that was on June the 23rd. And the vehicle had found to July, almost a month later, July the 19th, and in that ravine. And like I said, according to that rancher as well, and the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior. It was actually placed there in between the time when he was there twice. Also, the fact that, like I said, you guys, even under Buckeye's own testimony, whether they like it or not, they refute their own testimony. They being out in that area twice, they claiming to do a hard search here in that same area where the vehicle was found, and the vehicle wasn't there, right? They came back later, and I'm telling you the reason why I'm saying that, so you guys can think about it. They're doing everything they can to make sure this vehicle is here for whatever reason. Because here it is, they the one did the search, right? They claim they did too. One, Civil Air Patrol. They also did a search 3 days, almost 3 days after my son was missing, the first initial search, and they searched this area, right? They claim with Phoenix Firebird air helicopter, and like I said, on July the 9th, they went with Civil Air Patrol, right? And the vehicle wasn't here. But then when somebody said, hey, you guys say, this reporters now, you guys say y'all searched this area, they say, well, we missed it because the terrain is so thick and so much vegetation. You guys seen you look at this picture right here, you seeing the footage, the drone footage that they gave me, right? And you see how low the brush come down, probably to my chin, the highest brush in that area. Well, we got some little ones that one here and there that may be a little tall, but nowhere near where the vehicle is. And so why they really trying their best to make sure that vehicle was there, to say the vehicle was there, even when it wasn't there, So you got to ask yourself those kind of questions. I don't have the answer to that, but I can tell you those things are highly suspicious to me. But yes, I do know it's nothing that I believe that the vehicles was driven after the initial crash. The data shows that, so it's a fact. Yes, it was. It was driven 11 additional miles after the first initial crash, and as well as the fact that it was placed there. So that's the reason why I'm also searching. Some people say, why you search the desert? Yeah. I have to search the desert because that's all we know. Everything is right there in the desert. All right. Here we go here. Thank you for your question. Here we go at PM channel. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for your question. Have we found out who those co-workers are? Is Caitlin story legitimate? Well, here we found out who those co-workers are. I'm trying to put together what part you're talking about there. I think you're referring to when you say who the coworkers are. I think in the report you're saying, the coworkers, because they like to use the word, they just like to put plurals on their stuff, just like they told me about. They have pictures, Chief Hall did at the time, and they only gave me one picture as a family. They only gave us one picture and two maps. And they had say, oh, we took these pictures, this plural stuff. So, those co-workers, if you speaking of when they say the co-worker said he's been acting odd and strange, when I went to go talk to these companies myself, of course they talked to Daniel. He works there, right? But he's a field geologist, and when the time my son was missing, my son rarely even come to that office. He hadn't been in that office. When I say he rarely come, he's a field geologist. That's why his title is field geologist. He get his assignments on a work computer. That's the same work computer is found in that vehicle. My son just built the computer at home some days before to replace that work computer because he wanted to get all his assignments off his own computer at home. And so he rarely ever comes. They told me field geologists rarely ever come into that office, right? When they come in, they only drop samples off. They go through this little back door if they want to, little side door. They go in, drop their sample on the table. They don't even see them come. Some see them come and leave. They just drop this stuff off and keep it pushing, right? And the only one worker in that report that I can say who can actually say that he spoke with Daniel or whatever, and he can have his own thoughts about Daniel. And I don't know him and Daniel talk, so I won't refute his testimony. But I can say it's only one. So when they say plural, I don't know this plural and who these co-workers are. That's the reason why they don't have a name, but they can name that one because there's only one that was able to say what he feel about Daniel state of mind, for instance. There's only one, not plurals. That is something that, in my opinion, was put in that report again to paint Daniel in a different kind of light. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't make sense. As in for the latest story is legitimate, I don't believe that story either. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I say I don't believe that story is because I know it happened because my son told me some story, some things, details that's exact. Of course, he's been there. He's met the lady through the Instacart. He also spent the night, that first night they met over their house. He left his canopy over the house. All that stuff is fat detail because my son did tell me those things himself, right? But as in when it comes to her story about this whole make it like my son trying to stalk her or something, or was so in love with her type deal. Yeah, I don't think it's legitimate. It's something that she put in her in the report herself. That came from her cell phone. If you guys look at some of the timestamp is missing. There's nothing to back up her story other than her word. I'm not a person. If you are a investigator, you don't just take somebody's statement and you throw it in your report. And they didn't just take her statement and put it in themselves. She uploaded her own statement up there to their report and they put it in. So it had been corroborated, not through my son's cell phone. There's nothing they have to say this is true. If you guys look at from a family standpoint, we look at from my investigation, for instance, look at the cell phone report. Those texts don't match what we can't. Of course, you can't read the text because the phone records don't show the actual wording of something they're saying towards back and forth to each other, of course. But you can see those timestamps there and those phone numbers that are going back and forth with each other, and they don't match. You know, saying to hers, you know, saying something missing, some things missing. So some things, if my son say, for instance, some little comment to her, what prompted him to say that? Why is that part missing or something? You know, that type deal. So, but they decided to put that in the report. That's what I'm saying. If you guys can look at the whole bit narrative, to me, in my opinion, all that stuff is put in there a certain way to infer something. You know, and that thing is to me to try to make him, like I said, not the victim that he is. So, of course, yes, I have. I don't know who these coworkers are, and then also, is this story legitimate? No, I don't think it's legitimate. It's a hearsay. It's hearsay, but it's in the report. All right. If anybody does have any questions, you can do like PM done here. Put the word question there or big question marks there, and help me find your question as I'm coming down. I really appreciate. Thank you, T and Wildflower. I really appreciate that you putting that there. The continued prayers. I really appreciate you coming out again. You always coming in. I really appreciate you showing up the Q&A, as well as Lola. Thank you so much, and thank you for doing that hashtag. Please help find Daniel, you guys. Those hashtags are important to get Daniel's story out there. So really, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. All right, I do have a question from Amber. Thank you for coming to the Q&A with your question, and thank you for being here from the Facebook side. Any ideas around why Daniel may have had a New York New York bag inside his car just before he goes missing? The first part of the question, I don't know either. You know, that's why it was kind of strange to me. I don't know what that bag came from. Of course, Daniel. Oh well, you know, one thing I can say, it could have came from his trip. You know, he did have a friend there in New York, and he did take a trip. I think it was like a year or two before he went missing. My son did take a trip to see some of his friends from college in New York before. So you guys probably see some of the pictures floating around him at Times Square some of those areas. But yeah, he did take a trip. I don't know if he got that bad from that trip. And then, this happened to happen in his car. I don't know the bad, but I did ask the question when I saw it, when that detective opened that door, when he was trying to get me to touch that vehicle. But when he opened that door and that bag was sitting on that back seat, and he dumped the content, that detective dumped the contents. I can't remember the content. I guess I was so stunned I can't remember what I saw coming out of the contents of that bag. But he's saying, I asked him what it was, and it was some New York City bag. So, all right, we have normally carry samples in bags like that. Well, yeah, he carries. It wasn't no samples in that bag. As far as I know, I didn't see anything like that. Probably would definitely jog my memory. But I know I did see little plastic baggies of dirt and little rocks or something. Now that would look like, appears to me like clay or dirt, rocks or something. And then I later found out that that's the samples that I was talking to you guys about, that the field geologists come in, they get the samples from those wells, they put them in these baggies, and then they turn them in to the company. They turn them into that company and come through the back door, drop it off on his table, whatever the case may be. And he had those bags in the vehicle because those samples, I guess, from that well that he was missing. So he did have those samples from somewhere, So that's what that bag was. But it wasn't in the New York City bag. It was in just in some little plastic clear bags, almost like Ziploc bags type deal. All right. And could his friend who visited from New York have given it to him? Possibly. Also wondering why the officer was making a big deal out of it. Well, I don't want to ask the question, what was that in the back seat? Because I saw, New York City bag, what is that? He said, oh, that's something your son had or somebody. He took it and just grabbed it, took it, and just dumped all the stuff out on the back seat. So that's pretty much the end of that one. But yeah, that stuff should still be in that vehicle. Like I said, you guys, I don't see that vehicle twice to this date. And that's one time the detective showed it to me, and the second where my investigator showed it to me. So, all right. Brittany, thanks so much for being here as well. Thanks for your question. The question is, how did you find out that Daniel's car was found on federal land? How is that not relevant to getting the FBI or other search services to help? Where's the FBI? Well, you know what? The way I found out is a couple things. I had a search coordinator at the time were mentioning that he think it was close to the federal lands, BLM lands, right? And that's the federal lands, Bureau of Land Management. And at the time, when I was doing the search, we always had to say, hey, it's kind of close to federal land. So it wasn't on federal land. That's what our opinion was at the time. But it's close to it. Who's to say that the way that vehicle got into that ravine didn't cross over from federal land to get there? So that was my angle to say, look, you guys it's so close to federal land, you guys need to look into it. I mean, it's only literally at that time, we had the belief that it was only like a few steps, for instance, a few hundred feet or a few feet or whatever from that crash site. So, of course, the searches was then I couldn't really put that vehicle on federal land at the time. But what ended up happening later on is that once I started inquiring about that a little bit more, a team member got the coordinates from me and sent it to Bureau of Land Management, the coordinates that I gave her. And once they received that, they would quickly, I'm sure was happy to say that Daniel's vehicle is not on federal land because of the coordinates, right, that I gave them. But it turned out to be I gave them the wrong coordinates because when they gave me the map, now the mapping they had marked out their land mass, with their colors, came straight from Bureau of Land Management. It didn't come from nobody else. It didn't come from no Google search. It didn't come from anything else. It came straight directly from Bureau of Land Management, the map they gave me. So having I seen this map over and over again, because I have my own map sitting on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, as well as I've been out there in that desert for over 40 some weeks. I know that desert very well, especially around this area here, this crash site. So when I saw that map, I was like, oh, I was really shocked because the color coding he had clearly puts Daniel vehicle on federal land, right? So I couldn't just send the response back to the guy and say, hey, look, according to your map, my son's vehicle's on federal land. I had to literally do the hard work of going out to the site itself and get my coordinates right there. I went out there by myself, and I went out there to get the coordinates. I got the coordinates to ZT, and then once I turned that in to Bureau of Land Management, talking to me the whole entire time, back and forth correspondent. But once I gave him the correct coordinates, he then say, well, they couldn't talk to me anymore. I had to talk through my attorney or through law enforcement. So that's where we stand to this day when it comes to Daniel's vehicle. Of course, I did talk to the agent, that's the FBI, who Buckeye had this case briefing with, that they say they have that under my request to get the FBI into my son's case. The same agent, I mentioned that to him. My son's vehicle's on federal land, and he's saying, I say, hey, the FBI need to be in my son's case. It's on your land. The vehicle's sitting on your land. And he said, well, no, it's Buckeye's jurisdiction. Now, this was agent telling me from the FBI that somehow they relinquished their jurisdiction to Buckeye. I don't know why. I think it's just that one agent, but he relinquished FBI's responsibility to Buckeye and told me that, yes, that's Buckeye's jurisdiction. I'm like, I'm confused. I thought, something on your land can't be override by some local. He said, oh yeah, that's the case, or whatever the case may be. So just to throw that off. So the whole point is I'm still fighting for that. So yeah, I asked the same question, why the FBI is not in my son's case. I do have, and I'm glad you brought it up as well, Brittany, because I do have, and I'm just gonna be straight up with it. My former search coordinator will put out to you guys that, my son's vehicle is not on federal land or stuff. He didn't do the hard work there. Like I said, he don't have the map from Bureau of Land Management. So you guys hear things like that. I did the hard work of actually finding those things out. And I definitely want you guys to also be aware of that as well. So you hear all that kind of flap out there, trying to contradict things that I say here. I don't just say it. I actually go try to find out those answers. So, all right. So I want to make sure you guys understand that as well. All right. And thank you, Brittany, for answering those questions. All right. Have another question here for Angie. Thank you so much again for your time to come out and ask your questions. If Dane's phone was found, were there any pictures or notes, emails that might give any clues? His case has captivated me. I researched from home in Boston. Well, his phone was found. As you guys know, it's part of the stuff that's right here found on the scene. This is part of the stuff that the Buckeye Police Department just gave over to me. There's marking in the bag for safekeeping. Like I said, I haven't dealt with anything except for that phone, and the reasons why I did, because the detective told me, first of all, they cloned the phone. Something, if they didn't have warrants, they couldn't get a warrant for a cell phone ping that we asked for. Certain things we asked for, they said they couldn't get a warrant because a judge wouldn't give them one if they were supposed to apply, because it's not a criminal case. And they still haven't called it a criminal case, but for some reason he cloned the phone. Once he messed with the phone like that, and as well as, to me, it's like violating Daniel's civil rights in a sense without even talking to the family about it. And the fact that certain things were done a certain way. The phone was given to me. My son's memory card was missing out of the phone. That's one of the biggest things that was bothersome to me at the time, because I just got him that memory card some months before, and that was missing. And then once it got into the phone, Angie, some of the things like, I can't tell you what was all else that was in the phone, because like I said, I have my own investigations as well. When I say any pictures, I know the pictures are still there. Some other things, email-wise, some of the things I do know, but a lot of stuff is wiped out. The Google search history to, you name his locations, all that stuff was wiped out. I since then was able to get some things back because I, had to do some hard work in the background to get it done. But as in from those emails and pictures like that, I can't really put that stuff out. Whatever I do know is in there, but I can tell you that some things was wiped out of the phone, and a lot of things were wiped out of the phone. Everything surrounding the young lady was definitely wiped out of the phone. When I said his text messages to his communication with everybody else, untouched. But the communication between him and a young girl, young lady, was wiped, was erased. And so, except for her name and her contact number. So those things were suspicious to me on the well. So somebody asked me a question earlier about leaving things out. No, I don't. I don't take anybody out of the equation, especially with that being the case about his cell phone being erased. This little specific thing erased out his phone. And everything else is untouched. You can see text messages I have sent my son from the time he had his phone to the phone calls. So and his friends as well. So the whole point is, I'm saying is, if that's not suspicious to a detective, nothing will be suspicious to them for them to put corroborate a person's story and put it in their report. So that type deal. So, we got a lot to that. But thanks so much for your question. All right, appreciate it. All right, if you guys have any more questions, you can do the same thing as Angie done here. Put those question marks there. I really appreciate it if you can do that so I can find. Oh, thank you, New, for being here. I haven't seen you, but thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for helping out. All right, I just had to throw your name up there. So thanks for being here in the Q&A this morning, and thanks for moderating as well. All right. Thank you again, Sadie's, again, for being here with your question. Do you think Daniel was with the car at the ravine? No, I do not. If that site at the ravine was staged, do you think other people were there? And what was the staging of the car intended to cover up or obscure? Well, no. According to my investigators' findings, no, I don't believe Daniel was there with that car. And the only reason why I can't back that up, because there was no forensic work done on the scene. When I talked to the Buckeye Police Department in a meeting with their chief, their assistant chief, and the whole staff, the reason why Buckeye said, because I asked the question, like, how you know my son was driving? I mean, y'all haven't done the forensic work. How you know my son was in that vehicle? Well, how you know he was driving it? And they literally answer was, it's his vehicle. He of course he was driving. It's his vehicle. Like, really? Don't y'all have some kind of stuff to say that, the test to see if somebody else is driving, or, and they said something about blood. They didn't find no blood in the vehicle. They didn't do no forensic work because they didn't see any blood in the vehicle. And I asked the question in that meeting, don't y'all have some type of lights or some kind of chemical they use, I guess, something I see on CSI TV shows or whatever, that would see if somebody wiped up blood? No, they didn't do that either. So those are the reasons why I say, yeah, I know from a fact, I can say from a fact, but I just know that from my opinion, based on the information, the evidence that my investigator found, no, I don't believe my son was with that vehicle. I don't even know that's his clothing that's on the ground. Just because they found a wallet, I don't even know if that's his wallet. Just because they found a wallet with his ID and this and that on it, or whatever the case may be, they claiming was on the pants, whatever, in the pants pocket out there inside the vehicle. That's no say that's my son's stuff. Not when that vehicle was planted there, So they didn't do the work of doing forensic work. And the reason why I know they didn't identify that or doing the forensic work too, because they never came to me and my family asked us to do this DNA swab. The DNA swab for me and my family was initiated by me, and that was last month. And I finally got that done. Talked to Namus and some of the others, got that stuff done, and they the one had to reach out to Buckeye for we to have it done in Tempe. I had it done in Tempe Police Department. I don't know where my son's mother had it done, but I done it in Tempe, who was able to collect it for me and send it to Buckeye. So the fact is that they didn't have any kind of thing to do. They didn't do any forensic work. And the reason why they do it, if they would done forensic work, they would have asked us to do that so they can match up what they found forensically, saying DNA wise at that scene, because they didn't do anything like that. So they didn't ask because they didn't do it. They didn't have to ask us for DNA samples when they didn't do any forensic work. So the whole thing is, no, I don't believe Daniel was in that vehicle. From with this vehicle when it was in that ravine. As in why, I don't know. That seemed to something I'm still looking into. I'm still searching for those answers. Like I said, I have some clues and I have some answers, but some things have to be corroborated from my end. I think I'm doing better detective work than the detectives of that department, because my things I found had to be backed up by forensics work. So, all right. So, okay, I think I have any more questions. I do have one, and I'm glad to see you here, Lakeisha. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for everything you do as well. Since I'm meeting you, been doing everything as well to help Daniel's case and to help, keep his, just take care of everything from that point, from flyer distribution that you do. I really appreciate everything you've done to help. All right. Question: do you know who would have deleted Daniel's Instagram pictures, and what date were the photos deleted? That's a discrepancy about the date. I won't start the end back in. It's a discrepancy about the date. Because of course the family, we were frantic trying to find out all the answers we can about what happened to Daniel at the time. And one of the things my children noticed was his pictures gone from his Instagram account. On his at first it was just a picture, his profile picture was still there, and then so I didn't have any date exactly when. We're just assuming that it just happened because we just looked, you know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of discrepancy that it happened the day when Daniel went missing or the day before. It's out of those two dates. It's around that time frame that those pictures was missing or taken off. Now a lot time later, we did notice that, of course, like I said, when those pictures were taken off, also the actual profile picture was missing as well. So everything is blank. Everything was blank to black. Let's say, do you know who would have deleted Daniel's Instagram pictures? No, I would not, other than is Daniel's Instagram. So the first thing we'll think, wow, so he's around, he deleted his own pictures. So that's the first thing. But then we start looking at, like I say, those certain factors in there and trying to put those time frames together, which is still hard to do because we really don't know. We don't know if he did it or not, or somebody else had access. But on the strange part of that is Daniel didn't just have an Instagram. So if he's going to delete all his pictures off, we wonder why it would just geared to just Instagram. He also had a Facebook and some other social media accounts, and none of those was untouched. But there's only one account, which is that Instagram that had the young lady dealing with that as well. So I can't put that out as well. So if you want to put some kind of things tied together, she was only involved with the Instagram side of things. He was following her on Instagram. They're following each other actually on Instagram. So I don't know if they have anything to do with it, but definitely those two things are related. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. All right. Thanks so much, Lakeisha, for those questions as well. I really appreciate you being here this morning. All right. All right, Amber, thank you again for your questions, and thank you so much for taking your time out again for being part of the Q&A off the Facebook side. Are you or your family or your investigator lawyer able to reach out to any social media platforms to see if they can retrieve any deleted messages, photos, or location data? I have not done that. I don't believe my family have done that. My attorney, no. As in my investigator, I don't know. See, that's one thing I'm still waiting on certain reports and stuff like that. But no, I don't know if those people reached out. But yes, definitely would be really, really nice to be able to get some of those deleted messages and things like that. I don't know if that's something that had to be done through a warrant or something like that with these social media companies. But yeah, that's something definitely a good place to be looking as well for those type answers. Because yeah, I need all the answers I can get. I know I'm just limited on certain answers I can't get because I am not law enforcement. My investigator is not in law enforcement. He's also a private person. So, for instance, they don't have the power to interrogate, for instance, stuff like that. So you only can do what you can when it comes to when you don't have really law enforcement backing. So, all right. I hope law enforcement did that. Look into those platforms and ask. Because I do know when I was there, my daughter and I was put into an interrogation room. We was asking them to go, as in law enforcement, to do certain things, and they haven't done it. they made all these excuses why they couldn't get it done. So you have to rely on law enforcement on a lot of things. They have that power to be able to do certain things, and if they don't do it, it is things like that won't get done. So, all right. Do we have a question here? Thanks for your question. I have a question again from Angie. Thanks so much again for your question. Are you open to any leads that might come via psychic help? Some people have special abilities that may offer a direction that may help. Well, I used to say this all the time, and I don't have anything against people who have special gifts. Some things, of course, that a lot of us don't understand. I don't understand those type of deals. I just know that I have my own faith. My family have our own faith, and when it comes to spiritual matters, and I was taught to stay away from things like that. So, of course, as from my standing, no, that would not be a source that I would go to try to get answers, right? And so, like I said, I'm just really grateful for people who have that kind of support and who say they have those type of deals. Of course, when I got here to Arizona, I didn't know that many psychics or people, mediums, they call themselves, was out there in the world until Daniel went missing. I hear them from all over the place, hit me up from emails, text messages, and everybody have their own beliefs about what happened to Daniel, right? So, but just hearing those things, I know some people are very passionate about their gift. But like I said, from my standpoint, reading a lot of things, I do get a lot of people saying this and that. Oh, he's there, he's here, he's this happened, this, that, blah, blah. And all of those things are always based on what they say is, like you said, those abilities and things like that. Not knocking nobody's abilities. What I'm saying is I just don't have that kind of faith into that type stuff. So no, I would not be reaching out to that type of resource for answers to what happened to my son. What I'm looking for is more physical, more direct. Somebody say, hey, look, I was part of it. This is what happened to your son. Or I know the person is responsible. This will happen to your son. Or there's some evidential stuff that's actually there, physical. Yeah, definitely would know that, like to hear that as well. But as in other stuff, no, I do not subscribe to it. But I do really grateful for those who actually have those abilities and who say they have those abilities and they want to help me find my son. Yes, I'm definitely grateful for their help. If they have those answers, I would like them to be able to go to law enforcement or to if they know directly what happened to my son. Yeah, to go ahead and just open up and tell what they know what happened to my son directly, and that will actually bring Daniel home. So yes, thank you so much for that question. But yeah, I have not reached out, and no, I'm not really open to that. So thanks so much. All right, and Eudora's Mama's Garden. Thanks so much. If I say your name correctly, I apologize. Oh, I don't know if that was a question mark, but I look at that, I thought it was a question mark. Mr. Robinson, I'm not a conspiracy theorist kind of person, but so many young men with promising futures are disappearing in the Midwest and Western U.S. FBI needs to connect the dots if needed. I agree with you on that as well. I don't know about how many people are missing on that as scientists and stuff like that, or like I said, the numbers. But yeah, I believe that law enforcement should be looking into all these missing person cases. My position on that is, I'm a veteran, and one of the enemies that we had to deal with when I was in Afghanistan was the Taliban, for instance, right? And it wasn't that we left a fob and wonder if somebody was trying to kill us. We knew somebody was trying to kill us, and because we go out there, we get hit by IDs, get through an ambush, whatever the case may be. No, these people trying to kill you, and their leader, Osama bin Laden, I think at the time, he was found, right? This guy was in hiding, but they found a way to find one person in somebody else's country. They find who they want to find. I'm sure they knew where he was all the time, but you can go find somebody else in somebody else's country that you're looking for, but you can't find all these missing people here in the United States. and you claim you can't go get this, you can't get this, like the police, oh, I can't get this warrant, or I can't get those cell phone pings, or all those kind of excuses with the technology we have in 2022. And you're trying to tell me all these missing persons, it's something more to that, because if you cannot find missing people in your own country, that's a problem. First of all, it's where your priorities are located. It's almost like being a deadbeat dad. You're worrying about somebody else's stuff, but not taking care of your own home. And you have all these missing people every year in this country, and people just actually let it happen. I'm saying people, I mean our government or whatever the case may be, allow these things to happen, and and have people like myself and families before me, and probably out there who would never get answers probably. You have some families who've been searching for their loved one for 20, 30 years and never still get no answer. So you're trying to tell me that they had the technology. It is that, we're such a capitalistic country. If you don't have the money, the will, and all that kind of stuff going on, you get less help if possible. You're not a certain kind of person and things like that. So they spend money on whatever they want to spend money on, and then they want to downplay that on people that don't. So my whole point is like that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but it's common sense. If people go missing, they need to find them, help to find it. These law enforcement need to get off their ass and help people find their loved ones. They use those technologies they have. There shouldn't be no missing persons. With all this money, we say we're the richest country, one of the richest, I think the richest country, they say, in the world, but yet we're at so poor when it comes to helping people. I can't. They'll pull their money out their ass for everything else they want to do, start a war, what the case may be, but they can't find a missing loved one, one of their own citizens. So, there's a lot I can say about that as well. All right. PM Channel, thanks so much. Question for clarification: the federal worker at the well was fake. Why was he out there? Why did he make up a story? Well, yeah, I said, yeah, that guy who said he was a federal law enforcement officer, and it didn't have my investigator believing it as well, obviously, because my investigator, that's where I get it from, because when I first heard it from this guy, of course, I'm sending him to my investigator. My investigator is supposed to corroborate his story, him, and also during the time, our old search coordinator supposedly corroborated his story. And so I'm putting that on of course, I'm taking their answers. That's what I paid the guy to do. And so, of course, I believe that he was, but later found out he's not. So, in my opinion, I asked the same question you. That's suspect to me. What is his involvement in my son's disappearance? So that's the angle I go at. Of course, after hearing something like that, I started to ask those questions. But law enforcement don't see that way. Buckeye don't. Like I told you guys in January this year, I asked them the question direct. Look, this guy, given that what we found out, his records, as well as he's not a law enforcement officer at all. He just lied. And the fact that he's saying he seen my son through the scope of his rifles to talking to him, and then changed his story from seeing him at 1 o'clock that day to 10 o'clock that morning. What do you think about it? Buckeye, the detective at the time that day, told me they corroborated his story and they believe him. Well, what about this, that? What about him lying about being a federal officer and his other things about him? Well, they had nothing to do with him telling the truth, basically, right? Because they say I don't corroborate this story at this point. No, but they do. But I don't know, maybe that's the way they do their detective work, or they work so in that department. So that's what I'm saying. Those type of things to me is reason why I don't want that department doing anything else for my son's case. I need another department who actually can handle my son's case the proper way and get the answers that I'm looking for my son. I already have some answers. I just need them to do their part as law enforcement to get those answers and stuff. So, all right. So I definitely, like you, I don't know why he was out there. He gave me the first story he told me is from like Colorado somewhere, and he was just there with his children to come out. He liked to come to Arizona to target practice or something out of other, but he's a federal officer out of some other state. I forgot exactly what it was. I had that stuff written down, but from some other state. So all his story is all messed up. His story is all wrong. Everything he said about himself is all lies. So, all right. Catherine Anderson, thanks so much. That name, you know, you may be one of the family members, but I'm not sure yet. But we do have one the same particular name. All right, thank you so much for being here on the Q&A from the Facebook side of things. Question: are you planning to be transparent about how the funds you have been raised have been spent? Yes, I've been very transparent. I've been talking about this from day one. And I know you keep asking those questions concerning that, but I've been transparent from day one. You guys know one thing for sure. When you're out here doing a search for your son or your loved one, you just don't know how much you're going to have to spend. And, you know, to be out here in the search, you know, searching for your son, your loved one. One thing I found out since I've been here in Arizona, I came out here because my son missing. You know, I didn't think about how much it's going to cost. I didn't think about where I was going to stay. None of that. I was in my car to try to find my son. When I got here, yeah, of course, you're going to find out all that stuff as you're going. As in the searching part of things, yeah, it's been very, very expensive from day one. Me had to be here as well as conducting all those searches. I did over 40-some weeks of searches. But, you know, again, you know what I'm saying, it's very expensive. Again, if you want to find out that stuff, Kathleen, you can also reach me at pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, and I can be very clear to show you some of those, to tell you some of those things if you want to know some of those things, so I can explain it to you better. But I can't do it here, but I can explain it to you better, so you can feel comfortable. I don't know if you're a person that donated or things like that, but you can feel comfortable in yourself to where funding goes. But I can tell you guys up front and openly and transparently, everything I do up here is towards my son. I'm not on vacation. I'm not here, you know, some joy trip or anything like that. I'm here to find my son. I'm not a perfect guy, you know, but I'm here searching for Daniel, and that's my goal. I've been consistent from day one, fighting for my son. And one of the biggest things I'm going to be least worried about is, you know, things like this. You know what I'm saying, where somebody going to try to beat me and bash me about trying to find out, you know. So I don't know if it's a insinuation or anything like that, but that I'm somehow not searching for my son. So you guys know I've been doing that from day one. I'm constant, I'm consistent. I'm being here fighting for Daniel, and I'm continuing to do so. So again, Catherine, individually, as you're a person, want to have those kind of answers, please feel free to hit me up on several different ways. You can do it on Please Help Find Daniel, yahoo.com. You know, so just hit me inbox with your information. I mean, you can have a direct discussion about that if it's really, really concerning for you as well. But, you know, after that, that's all I can really do for you. But I'm going to tell you that definitely my heart and my soul, I have to be more focused on finding Daniel. And one of those things I've been doing from day one has been doing that. So thanks so much for your question. Thanks so much for being here. But your name sounds very familiar. I really appreciate you coming out. You know, coming out to the Q&A and answer your questions as well. So if you guys have more questions like Kathleen done here, please put a capital letter Q there, or the word question there, followed by, or a question mark followed by your question. Then I can answer those questions as well. So, you know, one of the biggest things, like I said, you know, for me, you guys, and I think I keep hearing that over and over again, it's a subject matter somebody doing. I'm pretty sure that is also can be a person trolling me right now. But, you know, one of the biggest things is I'm going to tell you like this, and I'll be straight up on direct. I'm a direct person. I don't play these games with people and things like that. So one thing you can do is get on my bad side. And what I want to say is I can see that consistency going to keep coming to me about certain things. And I guess to try to insinuate or to try to damage something. And you guys, I'm telling you, this is a Q&A. I'd like to answer those questions, but I'm telling you something, when it comes down, somebody try to some kind of way, you know, I'm very intuitive, and I can tell when people's trying to get certain things going. But what I want to say is I'm very transparent, very open to what I've been doing since day one. And my goal since I've been here, I've been passionate in finding my son. He's my son, first of all. What father, what mother won't be passionate about finding their child? I spent my time. Every year, I'd rather be right now somewhere. I'm retired military. I'd rather be somewhere enjoying my day, talking to my children as I always have been doing. I'd rather have my 2-hour conversations with Daniel as I have been doing with my other children as well, having conversations with them. I'd rather be back at home, sitting on some beach somewhere, just enjoying myself, my retirement. I'd rather, like I said, not be here in Arizona, heartbroken every day that my son is missing. I don't have time to really to babysit people's feelings and emotions when they come to try to find some way to put a stain on my efforts to find my son. You know what I'm saying? Try to find some type of way to creep in there to try to, it's called trolling, to try to find a way to damage my efforts to find my son. And my son is missing. So I don't play the games with people. I don't have the time to do that when Daniel is missing. So to address that direct, I see where that's going at. And so you guys can take your game somewhere else. My son is missing. If you want to be a part of something like that to try to damage my efforts to find my son, then you need to take that somewhere else. Don't take that here to Q&A. Just talk to me direct. You have a problem with me some type of way. All the avenues is right there. So you guys can hit me up. Please help find Daniel@yahoo.com. You ask all the questions you want for things like that if you want to. So I can tell you some things in your own ear. All right. So thank you again, Catherine Anderson, for your questions. All right. It's very hard, guys. It's very hard for me to have to do this every day and struggling every day to try to find my son and then to have to be bothered by things like that. So that's why you see me reacting the way I am. Because when I start thinking about it, I could tell it's a troll and let's get ready to go on here. And I'm just going to let it be. All right. Gateway. Thank you so much for being here this morning on this Q&A. Thank you for coming out through the Facebook side of things. Do you know if the girl has people in enforcement? Do you actually know who the young lady is? And I'm assuming you're talking about the young lady who my son had the encounter with, of course, through the Instacart. And I don't really know who her family members are, or she have any connections with law enforcement at all. But that's all the things, some of the answers. Well, I say it like this, I do have some answers, but that's some of the things that had to be said to be seen, and those things will come out eventually, what I'm saying, if so. But, do you actually know who the young lady is? I have never met her in my life. Only way I know her is through my son's telling me about this young lady before he went missing, and as well as what I hear from the Buckeye Police Department. The only thing I know about her. Information that way. Of course, from my standpoint, when I first came here and I got the first police report, my first police report that I received, it was after July the 19th, after July 20th, when that vehicle was turned over to me. I did have a meeting, and Chief Hall gave me a partial report at the time that day at that meeting, and then they later said once the detective finished writing up their parts of that report, which is going to be a final report because they didn't have no more leads to follow. My son's case in their eyes is over. They gave me a final report, unredacted report. So I do have information about this young lady, of course, and a lot of others from that report, right? And that was the final report. So all those new reports and stuff like that, I don't know why they have all these new reports, but that's the initial final report. And so I do know her based on reporting and what my son has told me direct from about this young lady. So, of course, do you actually know who the lady is? No. And like I said, I don't know who her family members as well and how connected, that type of stuff like that. So, all right. But those things will be open pretty soon. So, all right. And let's see, here we go. All right. I do have any more questions. Anybody having more questions? Let's see here. Let's see. I'm seeing here. I'm going to answer Catherine some more of your stuff. Are people, trolls, haters not contacting you directly? Sorry you're dealing with that while looking for Daniel. Okay, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your question. But you know what? No, I don't have. And if people are trolling and things like that, like I said, I try to keep myself focused on what I'm doing. What I'm doing is searching for Daniel. I have become passionate about searching for my son. I'm also building a foundation, Daniel Robinson Foundation, to help other families. I do have events to help other families as well. Like I said, my whole day and my days and nights are filled with trying to find answers to what happened to my son. I'm doing my own investigation. I'm also doing flyer distribution. And so you guys, everything I have been doing since day one, I'm constantly doing and constantly fighting. All right. Do have a question again from Gatewad. Thank you so much for being here again. Facebook side question: were you able to speak to the young lady? No, I have not. I have that question done before, and one of the things was, have I ever met her, or things like that? No, I have not. I make a purpose point not to ever contact the young lady. I make it a purpose point to pretty much stay my distance from that young lady. First of all, there's two reasons why. Because if I don't have so much stuff yet to what the things I do know, I don't have so much stuff. First of all, if she's a young lady, first of all, and I don't want to, it could be like a daughter, what I'm saying? I'm not going to let somebody else be stressed out about things concerning my son's case if she don't have any involvement. So the thing is, for me not having those type answers and stuff, I cannot. And if I didn't stuff I do know, we still would not be able to be sitting there trying to contact her in any kind of way, or even ask questions and things like that. So, like I said, to stay away from that part of things. Just deal with what I do know from the outside and the information I get from the outside. So no. All right. Thank you so much for your questions again. Hey guys, if you do have any more questions, just like Sadie's here done here, put a big question mark, the word question there, or big capital letter Q. That will help tremendously. Have you accessed Daniel's Google account? Yes, I tried to, and I have, and like I said, those things have been wiped, and so at up front, but then I was able to get some things back. And so I'm working with those that I have back. But like I said, that phone been processed. So the fact is I have information back from that as well. Other apps to get access to his location data. And I hope I get information from that as well back. And separate from the phone tower data. That's something I've been trying to ask Buckeye to get those cell phone pings. And like I said, they first, just like they said with the helicopter thing at the beginning, oh, we're going to send this helicopter to search for your son, and then call back, says unauthorized. They're not sending the helicopter out, right? Same thing they did with this cell phone pings. I was told, me and my daughter, that they was going to go out, they will give us go get the cell phone pings for my son cell phone, so we can get some kind of information where my son was that day and things like that. And then the same higher up, I'm sure, lieutenant, sergeant, came back and said, no, they're not going to do it, because if they was to apply for a warrant, they need a warrant. They apply for it, a judge wouldn't give them a warrant if they applied. And, so it's the same thing. We didn't get that cell phone tower data. So still to this date. All right. Did police get the data of his phone pings? Okay, that's part of the question. And location as well. No, they didn't do any of that, and they didn't, in my opinion, try. As far as I know, what I said, from my opinion, from what they told me, they haven't even tried. So they haven't gotten cell phone pings. They haven't gotten. Think about all of this, guys. They conveniently not able to get even footage from, and I said this many times before, footage from my son driving from his apartment, supposedly apartment from his apartment to his first work site, from the first work site to the second, right? There had to be some type of footage somewhere, especially with traffic lights. And I see cameras, you guys go on your street, you go out there today and drive, you look up on a lot of people don't notice that. You look at these these light poles, traffic light poles, and you'll see the cameras up there on the corner, on a pole somewhere. There are cameras everywhere these days with technology we have now. Because the reason why, because when the crime happened, somebody robbed a bank, you ever hear them all the time say they just trace these people down. They trace them through the cameras, right? But for Daniel, according to Buckeye Police Department, they tell her they have nothing. My son have not been on one camera in Arizona since he's lived out here in Arizona, not one, right? And so that's conveniently wasn't done. Also, the cell phone pings, like I said, wasn't done conveniently. And conveniently, my son has a Uconnect in his vehicle that would give geolocation where this vehicle been. Also, his phone connected to the infotainment system. They conveniently not able to get that as well, telling us that it came out with 0 grids or some crap. So to me, all of that combined with the fact that they're refusing the evidence, the physical hard evidence that my investigator found to try to make sure this vehicle at all costs, my son drove it down in that ravine himself with a head injury, just disappeared and gives us stuff back for safekeeping because he's coming back with a severe head injury, butt naked, walking in the desert to join a monastery to become a monk. With all of that, still trying their best to make sure that my son's vehicle wasn't planted there on that date or that story, that it was there for 30 days almost, that type deal. You got to ask those questions. Why is that? Why is they so adamant to make sure that it's that way? You know what I'm saying? That's the question that comes to my brain all the time, because everything combined from the story time my son went missing to this date, always comes back to Buckeye, for instance, saying, oh, this didn't happen. We can't get this. We can't this and that. But a lot of the vehicles here, this type deal, so all of that even keep coming out for them, they lack of work, to try to even find out what happened to my son. So it always come back to them every time. All right. Gateway, thank you so much, Gatewood Wad, for being here again. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Question: did Buckeye give you a reason why they wiped everything from his phone? I don't say they wiped anything from his phone. I just want to make that clear. I didn't ever say Buckeye wiped anything from Daniel's phone. I just know when they gave it to me, things was wiped out of his phone, right? And so the only person who had access to my son's phone at the time was the Buckeye Police Department. And the detective told me personally on a recorded call that he got the phone from the scene and had it put in his back pocket. So nobody had access to that phone but him, right? So that's what I was told. So I don't say he wiped the phone or he took the son's memory card. I just know that when I received it, all those things was gone, right? Also, did you have his phone in your possession? Yeah, once it been turned over to me, yes, I did. So those are type deals. And the thing is, somebody wiped Daniel's, location and things like that. So, all right. All right. Thanks so much. You guys, if you guys have any more questions, please come back this evening. I will, because I think I ran out of questions here. I don't see any more on the bottom here. But I want to tell you, thanks so much, first of all, for being here in this Q&A. You guys, from heart to heart, I would have to say this too as well. After a year, I do see a question from Ciro's Nation. I will get you a question. I'm going to put your question here, Ciro's Nation. I definitely want to make sure I get yours before I end this Q&A. But I'm just going to leave it here until I answer it. But I want to say something real quick here. I've been here for a year fighting for my son, right? I'm not taking anything away from his mother. His mother's in pain. That's her son, right? So of course she's in pain. And I had learned a long deal with that is in this travel. Of course, I have some moments where I felt by myself, family-wise. I'll just put it that way. And some of the things that I learned in my travels to search for my son is dealing with other family members who have missing loved ones. One thing that I found out is that and I found that even through this Q&A, for instance, I found it's very hard for families to talk about their loved ones being missing, right? And the reason why I know that, because even myself, when I first got here and I had to go search for just local news coverage for Daniel, it was hard for me to mentally want to or have to be on camera, right? And it was hard. But now I do it so much and I just can do it. But at the beginning, it's hard. So sometimes people ask about Daniel's mother and say, hey, what about her? I can't speak for her because, she and I are divorced. We have our own separate lives, of course. But I do know that I know that she loved her son. I know that I love my son. And, one of the things I can say is I'm here. I'm here for Daniel. I've been here from, like I said, day one. I've been here since he was missing. I was out on my way here to Arizona to find out what happened. So, like I said, during that journey, I've been really just been learning a lot. Just been through a lot and learning a lot every day. Every day, this is very difficult. Very difficult. The first thing, like I said, is coming here to Arizona and just not knowing anybody, didn't know who to even turn to. The first person I turned to, I'm a black guy, and I'll be straight up and honest. The first person I went to was try to reach out to the NAACP, somebody, right? Somebody I can identify with or something. Try to reach out to a community. Also try to go to the Red Cross. My daughter now, and I say me and my daughter. I went to pick my daughter up. She lived here in Arizona. Pick her up, but she and I used to travel around just to try to go and just reach out to anybody we can, try to find some type of help, right? And so, like I said, just dealing with the Buckeye Police Department at the time, I just know things wasn't moving the way I needed to move. Of course, I had to go out there every week. And now I can say because I went out there every week, almost every day, standing outside on Sun Valley Parkway with my binoculars trying to look into that desert. And so, the whole fact of having to do that, it was very painful to know that somebody saying, hey, your son is out there in that desert somewhere, last seen. And the only thing in your brain is hot out there. And, your son could be hurt, stuck somewhere, or whatever the case may be. And I felt helpless. The only thing that was stopping me as a father from finding my son was the desert itself, right? So, of course, what do a father do? You do everything you can to try to reach out. Day and night. And people don't know the efforts and the work you have to actually put in, just the muscle. I had to forget my own emotions. I had to put my own emotions to the side, my own feelings to the side, and spent many nights. You guys may be sleeping, and I couldn't sleep. I'd be lucky if I got 1 hour of sleep, and put all the effort I can to try to reach out to anybody I can, do researches about the desert. I'm a military guy, so I know desert is something don't play with. So I had to learn about the desert, had to reach out to somebody I can who lives out there in that area, do a lot of stuff. Reaching out on social media was a big key. And then I was able to find someone who helped me get along to get these searches going, right? Got the searches going, searching for my son, working very hard doing so. Again, to address anybody who have any doubt of anything I have been doing since day one, unless you're in my shoes, you would never know what it takes and what it takes to even do half of what I'm doing, right? You can look at law enforcement, for instance, and there's no question. The question to these people, when they go out there and search for people, they utilize a lot of resources to do so, right? I've just been unfortunate that nobody used no resource. I haven't had law enforcement to use not a resource to help me find my son. I had to figure those things out for myself. How I'm going to come up with the resources, how I'm going to come up with the help to find my son. And, one of the things was to reach out to the community, and the community reached back out to me. I reached out to you guys. And like I said, I had over 200 people at times would come out there to them desert searches with me. My first search was from 5:45 in the morning to about 10 o'clock in the morning. We used to be out till at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening, trying to rescue 118-degree weather this time of the year, trying to rescue Daniel, right? He's stuck in a hole somewhere. Then his vehicle showed up. That made things worse for me and my family, because damn the vehicle. They told me, hey, this vehicle's found. I'm worried about, okay, what about my son? They tell me, hey, look, we haven't found him. We don't have no tracks, no nothing, no whatever, right? And so, like I was saying, what I'm saying is, you guys, you don't know how much that is a toll to have those answers given to you and your son is still missing, while you're still trying to maintain a search, while you're still trying to tell people how much you really appreciate them, which I do. When you telling people you love them because they love you, you love them back, while at the same time trying to do these interviews you don't want to do, but you constantly on TV or trying to get this stuff done. I had to go through a lot. I had to go through a lot just to get this come to this moment right here. And you know, well, I can go on and on and on all day with this thing with you guys, but I'm telling you this. What I got to say is everything I've been doing from day one is to search for my son. Everything I have been here in Arizona is to put my own self to a side just to search for my son. Everything I ask for you guys and I ask you guys for help is for me to find my son. It's not for me to go on some vacation, like I said, some joy trip. So anytime I feel like I've been questioned somehow of my love for my son, my efforts, that's offensive to me. It's very offensive, very hurtful. I don't really try to show my emotions a whole lot to anybody. But one thing I can say, that's very painful when I have to mentally digest some games that people like to play or some type of insinuation. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a perfect man, but I'm a father, and I've been trying to do this from day one, trying to do anything I can. Because, it's coming to a point where I put on Twitter last night, if you guys follow me on Twitter, sometimes life itself, this whole situation of trying to, it costs to try to do what I'm doing. And this whole situation tried to dictate to me when I need to stop searching for my son. And my heart, my mind, and my soul don't allow me to do so. But life itself can actually put you in that corner. It can put you in that corner where you feel like, you have no other options to do certain things. So I just want y'all to know that from the bottom of my heart, I'm trying to do everything I can as a father to find Daniel. And I've been doing that ever since day one. So I just want to stop aside and say that, because that little thing that I just couldn't let it go just now. It bothers me when I feel, and I know when people are trying to do certain things to me. But I have to take a lot. I'm a tough-skinned guy. Like I said, I can hold my own, but I do have feelings. All right, I do have feelings, and I do love my son, and I'm trying to do everything I can here in this this state that it's very hard. Anyway, I'm going back to these questions, and I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Get you guys, I run out of time, and I want to get Shiro's Nation's question. Thank you, Shiro Nation, because like I said, I love your questions. It's always logical and things like that. So. What constitutes foul play, and other than opinion of the LE? Well, I do not know. The first thing as a father and as a mother and then whoever loved one, if you see this right here, this scene, right? And well, first of all, for me as a family, foul play to me is that my son went missing outside his own character. Something that we as a family would not see him to say, hey, I'm just going to leave life as it is, especially over some girl that they trying to insinuate. But I'm going to leave life as it is. I'm just going to disappear. I'm just going to, first of all, come to 2 job sites, and then all of a sudden I just want to disappear from life itself. I want to leave my mother. I want to leave my dad, my siblings, my grandparents. I'm just going to leave. To me, that's impossible for Daniel. If he wanted to leave from his family, we have such a family that talk to each other and a close-knit family. It's easy for him to have come to us and say, look, I want to be out of, I just want to go away to myself. I mean, we'll ask him why, of course. We love him. But then if that's his decision, he's a grown man, and he knows that. So that's one thing for us. We know Daniel knows that type deal. His decision is his grown man, it's his decisions, but we're going to try to help him if it's a decision that we think that he needs to reconsider again. But of course, the other part is what constitutes foul play to me is, like I said, just looking at the scene. Any family member could look at this scene, police officers show you that and say, hey, look, your loved one, everything on his body is on the ground. The vehicle's here in this ravine almost 30 days later after your person went missing. And you see all that on the ground, and your person is missing and supposed to be walking off butt naked in the desert. That's foul play. You think so? You want me to believe that somehow he did this himself? He's such a mastermind. He planted all the stuff and invaded any kind of stuff, invaded the cameras where they claim they can't get all the stuff to lead up to this point, to throw everybody off. So he did all this just to get away from his family, like they suggest, to join a monastery, become a monk. He did all that to disappear, to get away from us, me, my family, and his mother. No, because I promise you, the same exact situation here, and here it is not their family member. Law enforcement, I'm using Buckeye. Let's say there was Chief Hall's vehicle right there in that ravine, and his uniform land on that ground, and he just wanted to get away from life, and he joined the monastery, become a monk. You don't think they'll look at that scene and have every law enforcement agency in this world out here down in Buckeye looking for Chief Hall? Yeah, they'll be out there looking, and they'll say it's foul play. No questions asked. No questions asked. They'll just look at it without doing any kind of forensic work. Foul play. We're going to find this officer. Right? But no, but when it comes to my son, they put me through hell. Hell, just to even get a helicopter in the air for my son. You see how they did in those other cases where they spent thousands, they spent millions of dollars to find these two people. They ain't spent a dime to look for my son. You know, so the whole point is, I'm saying is, foul play to me is whatever they subjectively want it to be. If they want it to be foul play, it'll be foul play. They don't want it to be foul play for their reasons. That's what they're doing right now. And that's the reason why I put that out like that. You guys, if you really think really hard to put everything together, why are they so adamant to make sure this is not foul play, no matter what? You know what I'm saying? No matter what the hard evidence is, no matter that my son been missing the whole entire year, if they don't want to make it foul play, what is foul play? That's your question. It would be just that. What is foul play? Foul play is what they want to make it to be. So they look at this young man here, and they don't want it to be foul play, so they're gonna make sure it's not foul play. But it's foul play. They don't have no evidence to say it's not. But because they have no evidence to say it is, they claiming, we're gonna say it's not. But you ain't got nothing to say it's not either. So you just make it what you want it to be. And that's what I'm saying. The Buckeye Police Department wanted not to be foul play. They wanted not to be foul play from day one to the point. They want you guys to focus on some avenue that my son's mental state or something. You know, if you wanted to be not foul play, if you could at least, they could at least said, well, we want to put it as a dangerous person. They haven't even done that. But yet telling me they believe my son had a brain injury that caused him to shred his clothes. He walking out butt naked, but he's not even a dangerous person to them. He's just a missing person. Here's his things marked for safekeeping. He's gonna come back and gather those things himself. You know, here's his stuff. We don't have nothing. We have no lease follow. We got nothing else going on. We don't even have an investigation. But then you got this FBI, one agent. I'm sorry, I ain't talking about the FBI itself, but that one agent. Oh, they doing a good job. That's a good job. Well, they need to take his that agent's his badge and his gun away from him because he's not doing a good job as an FBI agent. So the whole point is, I'm saying is, you guys, look, that question. That's why I like your question, Sheroes Nation, is what they want it to be. Foul play is what they want it to be. All right. They don't have to have any evidence behind it because when it does, they can refute those evidence to keep it wherever they want it to be. All right. So that's where I'm at on that part of it as well. I have a few more, and I have to let this go, you guys. My voice is going away. When I get stressed out somewhat, I lose my voice. So, all right. Samantha, thanks so much for your question as well. Do you feel looking in the right area? Some friends and I went out in one of your searches on horseback and hope to find something. So heartbreaking. Thank you so much. I did have some people come out in the past with their horses. I don't know if you're one of those, but thank you so much for going out there in that area. And please be careful out there. I definitely don't encourage anybody to go outside of my searches, but I really thank you for that. When I say outside of my searches, meaning organized, because I can't tell people when they can't go out searching for my son. What I'm saying is I would like to see people, work together to keep safe. My son was missing out there in that desert, and I just don't want anybody else risking themselves when they're by themselves so long and things like that. So that's what this is my caring for other people. But thank you so much, Samantha, for going out there. The only area It's no really right or wrong area to search. I really don't know. I just search based on, like I said, those parameters when it comes to how far a person can walk, to what we know from what the guy at the well site said, to the vehicle being found, the 11 additional miles on the vehicle, to all that stuff is contribute to the areas that we search out there. So, but there's no right and wrong with place to search out there because we just don't have those total answer to what could or could have been. So, all right. Let me see here. I think I'm gonna get one more question, and if you guys have any more questions, please, by all means, come back this evening, and I will, say have those answers for you as well. Come out to the next Q&A. I try to see all the questions. I'm trying to find one more question that I can answer, and I think I'm gonna go with this one here. And if I miss your question, please bring it, like I say, bring it this evening if you can. If not, you come on the next Q&A. Question. Do you ever reach out to Sean Kingston? No. He would be a great help and source of income. All right. No, I don't know who that is, but thank you so much for suggesting. I'm sure my team is right here listening. So they'll get that name down again. And, you guys, y'all throw out a lot of people at me. And I know since I've been doing this as well, I reached out to so many nonprofits, to you name it. Just like you see me talk to a lot of do a lot of interviews. I definitely, I'm telling you something. I'm telling you, I reached out to a lot of nonprofits, and I'm not putting nothing against any nonprofit, but I can tell you this one thing. I reached out to a lot of them, and only one reached back to me and helped, and that was Black and Missing. They have, but the other ones, I know you guys have a lot of faith in them. From, I think it was called Aqua Search or something, and the rest of the other ones. Not one of them came out to help in my efforts to find Daniel, which is fine. I'm not really, like I said, saying this to try to make them look bad or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't want anybody to appear that I'm not reaching out to a lot of people, and we have from day one have reached out to a lot of people. To also, I want to make sure clear. There's a lot of clear things I want to make sure I'm clear on, as well as people will suggest that there's people that want to do pro bono, for instance, forensics work, for instance, that was out there recently, some type of work for me. Not one person, against popular belief, and I'm saying it again, not one time has anybody ever reached out to me and say, hey, we want to do, like, when I say reach out to me, some legitimate, or anybody, period, illegitimate, reached out to me and say they want to do that, some forensic work for free or anything like that. So never have that. And if they do, even if they do, I don't care where they're from, even if they do, I'm just not going to just relinquish my son things over to somebody because they say they want to do it for free. There's a lot of process that go into that before I can determine if that's the place where my son things have to go. Just like the lab with his cell phone, it had to be a place where, first of all, that would take my son's stuff, but as well as it had to be something that's going to benefit my family, benefit Daniel's, be done correctly, and I get the results that I need to correct the results. I got to make sure there's nobody who's so pro-police, for instance, where things can go wrong with the forensics. So no stuff like that. So there's a lot I have to do. Be very responsible. And so I'm the captain of my son's things right now. I'm speaking for him on his behalf, and I'm taking care of things for him. So thank you, and I really appreciate that. This is for my team member. I love you, and I'm gonna talk to you when I get done. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you for having my back. I already know you do. I know you all do. I know all of you that's supporting here have my back because you've been here from day one. And thank you so much for saying that, Sophia. I really appreciate that as well. All right. Thank you also, Lakeisha. It's okay, David. I have to go, but pay the ignorance no mind. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I know you have my back as well. So thank you so much, you guys. And I'm not giving up. And I hope, when I said all that earlier, yeah, it's very stressful to be able to have to accommodate people's what they feel like they have to do. But at the same time, I'm a big guy. And when I say big guy, I can handle myself. And I have to answer some of those questions anyway. But like I said, it's not without any kind of attack, injury to myself, right? Because it is an injury meaning that, you know, it's a lot to be in my shoes, and it's easy for people to be able to do things that they do outside looking at a person like myself to do whatever they got to do. It's easy for them because they're not where I'm at, standing in my shoes where I'm at from my point of view. So, of course, yeah, it's easy. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much again for coming out to the Q&A this evening. I hope I get to see you this morning. I hope I get to see you this evening to the Q&A this evening. I will be back again. And I really appreciate that. Like I said, you taking your time to show your love. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, like, subscribe to this channel. You know, I really need you guys. If you can, please do that and get this channel out a lot farther. So I really thank you again for, like I said, coming out. My voice is gone again. I will have that better in a little while. Just need to get some fluids in. But I'll see you guys later on this evening. I love you all. Thank you so much. God bless.